let's get this shit started. So this is gonna be a basic Jackal overview. For anybody looking to learn the character or like, I guess, understand what she's doing, this will be for you. Basically, I'm just gonna go over the normals, her specials, and like how you can play her, because she's such a good character. You can play her multiple ways. But I guess the established way to play her now. All right, so to start, we're gonna go over universal mechanics. All right, so defense modifier 1.03. It's actually not bad. It's the same as Kai. For perspective, nobody seems to know what her guts is yet. Gunframe doesn't have it. Oh, okay. Dust Loop has it. They say it's 2. Stun resistance 60. Her jump startup is 3 frames. Backdash time is 13 frames with 9 frames of invincibility, 1 through 9. So pretty good, I guess. Her backdash actually is actually really good. Even though it has that 5 frames of where it can be hit, it's really fast and it goes a pretty good distance. Oh, and another cool thing about her is her wake up timing. Face up wake up is 25 frames, and face down wake up 21 frames. So there's a little. You might have to change up some setups depending on which way she's facing. Although it's not as bad as other characters. Like I know Chip has like I think 8 frames difference between his face up and face down. All right, so let's go over the normals real quick. We have 5P. 5P is 4 frames. Chains into pretty much all of her normals. Hold on one second. Okay, chains into pretty much all of her normals. 5K, 5S, even 5 heavy if you're close enough. 4 frames, even on block. Chainable. It's actually a pretty good poke, and it's also her fastest normal. So it's good for Abare, except for the fact that it whiffs on crouchers. To show you. Yeah. However, it does hit, let's see, Potemkin, Bedman, and Johnny. Even if they crouch, it'll hit them on block. So, Zakiyama, I'll do questions afterwards. So it's a good tool to use against those characters, but generally, if they are crouching, you want to avoid using it. It's also really good for anti-air. It doesn't have any invul. It's just really quick and has a good hitbox, sort of like Slayer's 5P back in Accent Core. It's just very good normal overall. If you do hit somebody with it, you and they're in the air, you would want to go for jump kick over anything else. Let's see, 5K. Okay, 5K is 6 frame startup. It's actually pretty quick. The hitbox goes all the way to the edge of the ball and chain. So it actually goes really far. And the hitbox goes slightly upward. So it's actually really good for catching jumps. It is pretty negative on block, but it's not like something you're going to end your pressure with. So it's not really that important. You can kind of think of it as like a very whack version of Faust 5K, in that it's good at catching anti-air and well, it's good at anti-airing from a good range, and it's good at catching jumps. So if they're trying to jump out of balloon pressure, you 5K to try to catch them, and you confirm into jump K once again. Okay, we have close slash, 7 frames, still pretty quick. This move is godlike. It's +3 on block, even on instant block. So your options differ greatly depending on whether you instant block it or not. It also links into 5P. Yeah. Whoa. Wait. Hold on. Yeah. There we go. It links into 5P on standing, And if they're crouching, since 5P will whiff on certain characters, you can go into 2P. And that's very good for if you have goons out and they're all the way like across the screen. You have them in a block string. You can use that route to try to keep them locked down, so that the goons can catch up and you can continue your pressure. It's also a really good starter, so you can do your punish. You can start punish combos with a close slash or 6 heavy, but we'll get to that. Okay, we got Far S. Far S might be her best poke overall. It's very similar to Faust's Far S in that it has no hurt box under her leg. So, for example, it'll stuff moves that do not hit her foot. If they're like low on the ground, it'll just completely stuff them. One really good example of this is Soul's 2D, which is a very good poke overall. You can actually just stuff it clean with this normal. The only thing about Far S is that if you're really at the tip of the range, which in neutral you most likely are going to be at the edge of the range, you don't get any confirms off of it. Her sweep will whiff. Heavy slash will usually whiff if it's far away, too heavy. Nothing really combos, so that actually is a really good time to go for a house plant. Yeah, this is probably going to be your main poke tool overall because it's actually really godlike. You can jump cancel it, of course. Yeah. Alright, we have 5 heavy, which is 10 frame startup. It's actually negative 13 on block. So it's kind of like not the best poke to use in neutral necessarily, because even if you cancel it, you're usually punishable. But the thing about it is that the hitbox is so good, and she moves forward during the move, and it's multiple hits. So you're gonna find yourself using it in neutral a lot. It also doesn't have, like, it can beat moves that are low to the ground. It has like a little bit of low invul, not complete, as you'll see here. Like, she'll still get hit, but you do another move like 2K. Besides beating it just cleanly, it can go over it. Yeah, like that. It'll just go over it. So it's worth exploring within matchups to see how 5 heavy, how good 5 heavy can be, like what normals you can beat, what specials you can beat with it. Also, if you have goons on the field, 5 heavy is even better, because with the goons attacking and the ghost on the field, you can actually just pick it up. You can pick up a ghost and cancel that move, making it a lot better for poke. Okay, crouching normals real quick. We'll do 2P, 5 frames, just filler. You don't really use it for anything besides Abre. 5 frames is kind of slow for that, so that's one of this character's, like, you know, I guess weaknesses. She does get rushed down pretty well. It's a pretty good move, I guess, but not too many uses besides, like, pressure. Okay, 2K 6 frames. Goes much further than 2P. It's 1 frame slower, of course. This move is +3 on block, which is silly. Second move that's +3 on block. Use it a lot during pressure to keep the opponent locked down. You can try to frame trap. It chains into 5P. So on those big characters, Potemkin, Johnny, and Bedman, 2K 5P is actually really godlike. It's a very good string to go for. Also goes into close S, heavy slash, 6 heavy slash. Just an overall good poke to use to lock the opponent down and try to frame trap them, or just keep them blocking so that the goons can catch up. You can even do like 2K. It's a pretty good string. And it low profile. Alright, 2S. 2S is the god anti-air. If they're directly above you, it'll pretty much beat or clash with anything clean if they're directly above you. Like, you're not really gonna get hit. The thing about it is the horizontal range is doo-doo. So you want to have your spacing down if you're going to go for this move, because on whiff there is a decent amount of recovery. You will die. But if you have the spacing down for the move, it's actually really good, and you get some really disgusting combos on time. Yeah, whatever. You get the gist. Alright, so we have too heavy. This move doesn't really have like too many uses in neutral, besides I guess like you can try to use it to catch, I don't know, backdashes. It's 7 frame startup, and it's only -2 on block. And it's cancelable, but you can only cancel at that last hit when the ball hits the ground. If you do hit somebody with this, you get pretty nasty setups, because you can set a house or a ghost and still get really good Oki. Or you can just set all 3 ghosts and give up a little frame advantage. But yeah, it's mostly just for combos. If you can confirm into it, you get really good setups, but that's pretty much like all you would use it for. You can mash the move so that it goes longer. I think the max you can mash it up for is 13 hits, but the thing is, it'll uncombo before you reach the 13 hits, so be wary of that if you're going to use it. Alright, and finally, her last crouching poke is 3 HS right here. This poke is godlike. It might, besides Far Rest, this actually might be her best poke. Or it could just be her best poke. It is -10. 11 frame startup, so it's a bit slower, but it is -10, but if you space it correctly, it is extremely hard to punish. It low profile and moves forward. That is very strong. It's like a bootleg Grand Viper, like a really slow Grand Viper. I see Mike mash on this move all the time. You use this move. Even though it's unsafe, if you have the spacing down, especially, use this move. It's godlike. You get the knockdown, and it's pretty much your turn. Okay, so her jump, actually, sorry, command normals. Let's see. Alright, so 6P. Her 6P is actually, as I play more with her, I find that it's actually really godlike. It's really good. It'll beat jump-ins pretty much clean because of the invul. There are some jump-ins that give it trouble or will clash with it, but overall it's just very good. The negative is that it blows the opponent back, so you don't really get confirms unless you're like ready, and you can't jump cancel it. So you have to like have your confirms down. But you can set up 3 ghosts if you do get the counter hit, or the regular hit for that matter. And you can confirm it to 6 heavy. Also, another good thing about this poke is that on the ground, it's fantastic. For normals that hit a little bit higher, such as Jacko's 5K, you can actually just beat them clean with the 6P. Kind of like Soul's 6P. The invul is like still there. See, like I'm just blowing through her 5K. I would advise all Jacko players to experiment with this move in matchups to see what you can beat with it, because it's actually really good. It might be secretly one of her best moves. Okay. 6K. 6K is her overhead. It's, what is it, 24 frames, and it's even on block. -3 on instant block. So that's actually really strong. She doesn't really get any confirms off of it if she hits you without the goons in play, or without meter. But it's even on block, and it's airborne. Well, yeah, it's airborne, so it can bait throws if they're not throw OSing. It's a very good move. You can use it because it hits twice. It'll keep them locked down for a little bit, and because it's even, you can even risk pressing buttons afterwards. So keep them locked down. Give the goons time to catch up. And also, if you have them in the corner, you know, you get a pretty... You can get pretty good combos off of it. Go straight into dust loops or whatever you want to do. All right, last normal is 6 heavy. 6 heavy is actually 7 frames startup on the first hit, which is really quick for a 6 heavy. There's been a few situations where like I mash throw without OSing, and I get 6 heavy, and it just counter hits them because they weren't ready for how quick it was gonna come out. The second hit I think is 29 frames, so using it as a full screen poke is actually kind of slowish, but the hitbox is so good that it's definitely worth hitting, and it's her best starter. So if you do tag somebody with this, and you're in range to get a combo or you get a counter hit, the reward is definitely there. Think of it like Bridget's 6S in Accent Core. Okay, so that's all of her normals. Oh no, we didn't do jump normals. Okay. All right, so jump normals. We have jump peak, 6 frames. This is probably her best air dash normal. If you're dashing in, you can actually whiff a jump peak and then do another normal as you fall down. It'll catch most tall characters as well. It's actually not her fastest jump normal though, at 6 frames. Her jump K is actually 5 frames. Now this normal is also godlike. Think of it like Kai's jump K. In terms of air-to-air, it's very strong. If they're anywhere in the air near you, you can go for jump K, and it'll probably hit them. It doesn't really matter where they are. Like behind you, in front of you, above you, it'll probably hit them. So for air-to-air and air confirms, definitely look into using jump K consistently for that. It's actually really godlike. Jump S, kind of like Soul's jump S in the hitbox. You can jump cancel it. Pretty good. Not as good as like jump K though, and not as good as jump P for air dashing in. But for just like blind jumps, I guess, like just jumping in, it has probably the better hitbox out of those normals. And what is it, 9 frame startup? Then we have jump heavy, which is 11 frames. It hits on both sides, so it's very strong if you're just like flinging yourself across the screen. For example, if you're doing this tech right here, you can just do jump heavy, and it really doesn't matter what side you land on because it'll hit on both sides. Besides that, mostly just like a combo filler. Also, it's also another good jump in. You just don't want to hit it too high because then you're negative. Alright, so now her D moves. I don't know whether to call these special moves or normals. All of her D moves take tension. So I believe the difference, like you get a powered up version if you have enough tension, and I believe the power up version starts when you have green bar instead of blue bar. I believe that's when the effect comes into play. So for example, her 5D, there are 2 different versions, the powered up version and the version without meter. As you see, the version without meter is significantly slower. So according to Gunframe, with meter it's 26 frames, and without meter it's 31 frames. So that's significant. Also, it's -6 on block with meter and -11 without meter. So that's also significant. You want to pay attention to your meter when you're going for dust. One cool tidbit about this normal or special, whatever you want to call it, it low profiles. So for example, let's say Kai was to shoot a fireball, you can actually dust under it and punish him. Spacing and timing for that is a little bit tight, but it's definitely possible. Also, she goes really far during it, so it's it's not bad, especially if you have the meter for the quicker version. All right, 6D, Elysian Driver. That name is so broken. 6D is her command grab. This right here. It is a D move, so once again it requires meter. with meter, it's 17 frames, and without it is 22 frames startup. That's also kind of significant. With meter, it's still on the slower side, but it's still good. One good thing about it is that it has low crush, and I'll demonstrate that to you right now. Okay. Completely goes over lows. So you can actually use it in the footsie game. Oops, wait, what? Why is he jump kicking? You can actually use it in the footsie game to go over lows. If you have the timing down. Actually, here's a better example right here. You can actually just completely go over that move, which is very strong for a lot of characters. Like Soul 2D, you can punish with this. So definitely go into the lab and see what you can beat with it, because it has a low crush property, and it's not airborne. So that's a visual mix-up right there. If you hit her out of it, you might think she's airborne. No, she's still grounded. It just low crushes. There's an airborne version of this as well. That right there, but honestly, I don't have too much use for it besides grabbing bursts. That's literally it. And it will grab bursts. Is it? No, it's right. Hold on, let's try to. Your timing, I guess, has to be better than that. There we go. It definitely grabs bursts in the right situation. That's the only use I found for the air version, really, besides the YRC tech. We have 4D, which is her hit grab. Also uses meter. As far as I can tell, the only difference is with meter, it's actually quicker. A little bit quicker. So without meter, you can actually mess up some combos if you're not aware, because it doesn't always combo from certain things. Whereas with meter, it should combo from a lot of things like 5K, far S, you know, or maybe not. If they're airborne, stupid bird. Yeah, if they're airborne, it should combo. Whereas without meter, it won't necessarily combo. I believe the difference is with meter is 12 frames and without meter is 16 frames. Okay, so we'll go over her DP, which is for people who don't know, it's just 2D. It's kind of cheap. It's basically Soul Sweep. Just mash on it and do it. The big difference, or as far as I can tell, the big difference is the startup. It's 9 frames if you have meter and 14 frames without meter. I don't know about the invul because I have not been able to let's see, Dustloop has it. I haven't been able to find any sort of invul frame, any info on the invul frames of this move. And just like how Majin Obama was saying during the set, they believe that it isn't fully throw invul after a certain frame or whatever, but there's no info on that anywhere. I do believe it isn't throw invul, but I'm not sure what the invul is for it. It is a 2-hit DP, which is really good against characters like Eddie specifically. But it is a bit on the slower side, and the horizontal range leaves a lot to be desired. Dosu, I'll answer that question at the end of the overview. Okay, so her final D move is her jump D. Jump D's really good. It's really good. It's good for just throwing out when you're in the air and you're trying to escape like the corner or something like that. You do have air options afterwards. You do have some recovery when you land though. The recovery is determined by whether you have meter or not. Another thing that meter affects is the amount of energy balls that come out. So with meter, you'll always get 3. Let's see. Ah, so it's actually 10 to 15%. It's not even green bar. Right here, you should get 3. Yes. And without that, you get 1. With 1, you have a lot more recovery than with 3. And you also cover a lot less space on the screen. But 1 still has its uses. It still shoots you backwards, you know, covers a good amount of space. Definitely a good move to throw out there, but be aware that it will take your meter, so you can't just like spam it, I guess. That's what they did to prevent you from spamming that move. Okay, and now we'll just go over her specials. So her main special move is definitely the Ghost Set, 22P, 22K, or 22S. And each Ghost Set gives you this house or ghost, whatever you want to call it. I guess the official term is ghost, so I'll be referring to it as that so that I don't really confuse anybody. The ghosts produce goons. These guys right here. Every few frames they'll shoot out a goon, and you can have max 2 goons for each house or each ghost. The kick ghost shoots out these little guys on the floor with the sticks. The punch ghost shoots out these goons with the swords in the middle, and the S ghost shoots out these wizards on the top. The wizards won't attack you until you are launched in the air. Yeah, they don't activate until you're like airborne. The ghosts themselves, they have levels, which you can see on the left hand of the screen. Oh no, I set the default for everything. Is it this? Yeah, okay. So you'll notice the levels on the side of the screen. Those correspond to the levels of the ghosts. It takes, as far as I can see, it takes about 3 goon summons for a house to level up. You'll see there are 2 on the screen now, so you can't really, you have to guess when the 3rd would come out, but it's about 3 goon, I don't know what you want to call that. It produced 3 goons before it levels up. Once it levels up, you get a new level of goon. You see the punch goon has a different sword. It's bigger. These goons on the kick goon on the floor, they have spears now that do more hits. And the S goon has a bigger wand for whatever reason. Now they're all level 3, and you'll see that the sword goon has a bigger sword. Kick goon has a trident now that does multiple hits. And these guys have star wands for whatever reason. As they level up, the goons become a lot stronger, and they activate, I believe, a little bit faster. And this guy on the bottom does more hits. So leveling up the houses is pretty good in certain matches because it makes the goons very annoying to deal with. Now, the opponent can kill these houses. What? What is he doing? The opponent can kill the houses. I believe it takes 3 hits at level 1 to kill a house. Yep. And it takes 2 hits to kill a goon. But when you kill a house, you will also kill the goons attached to that house. Also, see, 2 hits to kill a goon. When you hit Jacko, the goon will die. If any goons are on screen, they'll die. The thing about hitting houses is that you cannot rapid fire hit houses. Like, you can't. The houses have recovery in which they're invul. So that's kind of what makes houses a little. I keep calling them houses. That's what makes ghosts cheap. The fact that you can't just like rapid fire, but you can you can cancel. No? Hold on. No, you can't cancel. That's kind of cheap. Oh, yeah, you can. Oh, what? Whatever. Anyways, yeah. So you have to look into, with your individual characters, what's the safest way to poke at a house without putting yourself at danger, because if you're just poking at houses full screen, Jacko can start throwing houses at you, and that's what you don't want, because that's when the game starts to get a little bit crazy. As a Jacko player, if you have a house with low health, I would recommend actually using this move. So actually, let me speak about what you can do with the houses now. So besides just having them on the floor, you can actually pick up a house with 2P. And yeah, once you have this house, you're in this stance, I guess, if you want to call it that. Oh wow. In this stance, you cannot block, but you can run and you can jump and you can air dash, super jump. You have all your normal movement options, but you just cannot block and you can't use normals. What you can do is 2P, put the house back down, 4P, or actually, sorry, it's 2P, 2S, or 2K. You can use either of those buttons to put the house down, but to pick up the house, it's always going to be 2P. You can put the house away, which is 4P, 4K, 4S. Or you can throw the house, which is 6P, or 6K, 6S. You can use any button. And this is where the houses really become strong. Once you have the goons out on the field, you can start throwing them. From point blank range, they're actually -2. Like from right here, if I was to hit you with it and you blocked, it would be like -2. But if I'm throwing it and then coming in, it's extremely plus. It's like a projectile. That takes a while to get to you though, as I'm running in. So using your houses in pressure, or just to try to open your opponent up or to get them blocking, is extremely important. And you wanna practice how you can do that safely without getting clipped, because when you get clipped, all the goons go away and it makes your neutral game a lot less effective. So yeah, the house throw is a very important move. This move right here, the house recall, is also important. If you're looking into house management, which might be important in certain matchups, let's say you get a level 2 house and it's about to die, and you happen to pick it up, you would definitely want to put it away. Do something to put it away, like air dash, put it away, or you can even go on the offensive, air dash forward and put it away. Because when you recover houses, it actually recovers their health. So now you can plant this house again, and it's full health. It's pretty stupid. Another thing that I forgot to mention is when you air dash with the houses and throw them, or recover them, it affects your air momentum in a way very similar to air dash grenade pull or grenade throw with L-Felt. So you'll plummet to the ground, which is very good for mix-ups and air mobility in general. The less time you spend in the air, the better. Like, you just come plummeting to the ground. It makes it hard for the opponent to read your, like, what you're gonna do too. If you air dash and throw the house, you're in a recovery state until you land. You can't do anything in the air. So that is where the opponent can actually take the opportunity to attack you, unless you like YRC or something. So you want to also like space your throws so that you're not just going into them without goons around them, because that's actually kind of unsafe. What you can do also is air dash forward and call the house back. Now, when you call the house back anywhere, like on the ground, you like recover almost instantly. So, whereas if you do a house throw really low to the ground, like you cannot air dash, if you air recover, you should be able to air dash. Actually, not air dash, like double jump. Yeah. Whereas like with this, you're stuck in the recovery. So that opens up options because you still have your air options. You can air dash in and do something like that, which is very strong. If you space it correctly, you don't know what side you're gonna land on. Yeah, see, like you can end up on either side. So that's definitely something to experiment with as well. Keeping your air options with the air recover instead of the air toss. Okay, and let me talk about her final special move. So we're coming up on over, I think we're over 30 minutes. We have the organ, which affects her houses. So let's get some houses now. Talk about the organ. So the motion for this is 2-2 heavy slash. Basically a far drill. You can press any button after that and it'll do an option, which corresponds to the meter at the bottom of the screen above your tension bar. As you can see, you have the P, K, S, and HS. To cancel this move straight up, you just press D. And the cancel is actually pretty fast. So let's go over what each version does. We have 2-2 HSP. Now that recovers all the houses. This is very good, I think, in certain matchups. You see all the houses are level 3, so I can just put them down. This is good in certain matchups. If you're having trouble leveling up the houses, sometimes you can kind of try to throw them off screen, like get them off behind the opponent so that they can't attack them, and have the houses level up off the screen while you fight neutral without them. And then once they're leveled up, you can call them back, and now you have level 3 houses to play with. I think that could be very strong for certain matchups. Besides that, you have 2-2 PK. 2-2 heavy slash K. That levels up the goons. So now the goons will act a lot faster. They'll attack a lot faster than normal. And you can do some crazy combos with that. It's also good for neutral because the goons are faster now, so they'll rush you down. You see, he's not playing around. He's coming for you. In certain matchups, once you have the P and K house out, if you have some space, it's beneficial to just go for it because the goons actually become a lot more of a problem, or more so than they are already. 2-2 HSK is going to be like one of the main things you're looking for the entire game. If you can get a P and K setup and some goons on the screen, 2-2 HSK, like that is very important. You have the S follow-up, which sets this countdown. At the end of the countdown, all the houses and goons explode. And as you saw, the explosion hits Jacko as well. There's some cool combos that you can do with this, and the explosions do really good damage. And you can follow up. But generally, you don't want to destroy houses, especially if they have higher levels, because like it's just not worth it. You'd rather have the goons on the screen than exploded and dead and reset in terms of the level. Okay, and then the final follow-up is Heavy Slash. Aegis Field. This move is extremely strong. Nullifies all projectiles and super projectiles as well. Like Kai's Stun Edge, was it Sacred Edge? It'll nullify that completely. This makes certain matchups almost seem impossible. For example, this will block all of Little Eddie's attacks. Like, Little Eddie cannot hit you when you have this field around you. Also, drills will not touch you. The field does go away when you get knocked down. So if you get knocked down, it's like whatever. Like, this field is not really effective. But it will return a little bit. It takes a few frames and it will return and then nullify all projectiles once again. Yeah, so for certain matchups, you want to use Aegis Field as well. I know against Axel, it can help against Rensen pressure. Venom, Venom has to hold that. Kai can't really shoot fireballs, but he has neutral. Potemkin cannot slide head you. It's a very strong move. It doesn't last as long. It doesn't last too long, thank God. And it has the longest recovery out of all these options. Just to let you guys know, the S and P option after Organ, they both have 900 frames of cooldown. The K option has 1500 frames, and Aegis Field has 1800 frames. So it takes a while for pretty much all those options to fill up once you use them. So be aware of that. If you use a 22P, a 22HSK, be aware that like you won't be able to use it for a while. And pay attention to your meter, because you don't want to get yourself in a situation when you use it accidentally and it's not there. And then you're just like, oh, what the hell? Yeah, and then the last thing I really have to talk about are her supers. She only has 2. Okay. So we have Calvados. It's a good extender for combos. You can use it in the air, so it's good for baiting on anti-airs. And it's also her Dust Super, or her Burst Super. When you use it as a Burst Super, it's fully invul, which is very strong. Without that, it's not invul at all. So you can actually just hit her out of it. Also, what's very strong about this is the motion. It's just 214S. So it's dumbed down. Probably like the easiest super in the game, I guess. So you usually just use it if you want to extend combos. You can use it in the air to bring them back down, and then try to go for another air combo. Confirms if their guard bar is jacked or something like that. Pretty good, and it keeps them, if they block it, it'll keep them and blocks them. You can also use it to keep them locked down so that goons can catch up. Her other super is the 360 punch. It's an Elysian driver, pretty much. I believe that is 5 plus 2 frame startup, whereas the last super is 7 plus 5. I don't know about the Dust version. So you can jump the command grab after the flash, but it does have invul, so if you're doing a normal, it will go through that normal and grab you, and it's her most damaging super. You can also do it in the air. It's her most damaging super, and you can also combo off of it. So in the corner, she actually has some pretty damaging combos. She has some pretty damaging combos off of Super Confirm. Yes. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, I think I forgot this move. I think I forgot about this move. That's her jump 2D. Meter also affects that. Just real quick, I'll go over it. Meter also affects that. So I believe it's faster startup. Let me check Dust Loop real quick. Yeah, 17 frames or 20 frames. I don't know that it has more recovery though. I couldn't really find that anywhere. But Jump 2D is definitely going to be where your most damaging combos are, in the corner off of 6 heavy. But once again, that move does use meter, so keep that in mind. Those combos will use meter, which can be not that great. Okay. I think that's like pretty much the basics of this character. Right? I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget anything.